So today is a new day, which means we have a new problem with the 210mm quad. So after the last couple of videos, we were able to solve our problem with the twitching oscillation by adding the O-rings underneath the motors and underneath the bolts. That worked fantastic. I've had no issues with the twitching since then. So once that was settled, I was out there enjoying this thing, having a lot of fun. You know, I was getting a little bit more confident with it. I was doing more aggressive roll maneuvers. And then after a few rolls, something happened. It became demonic. It seemed to have a mind of its own and choose to basically go back the other direction or even slam itself into the ground. So you'll notice when you see these clips, all I did is I rolled left, and then after I stopped, all of a sudden the quad decided to roll back the other way and then start shooting down towards the ground. The reason why I was shooting down towards the ground is because after I do my roll maneuver, I give it throttle again, trying to get more lift. However, because it kicked in the motor, pointed down, and then I gave it lift, it shot into the ground. This could then be recovered from if I was high enough and noticed what was going on and would try to recover, but that wasn't always the case, and this was terrifying when it happened. Trying to figure it out was actually really scary. So what I was doing to try to troubleshoot, and I don't have any video of it, is I was going out in my backyard. This was probably 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, and I was just trying to do rolls and flips line of sight. And so I noticed, all right, I'll do a flip, I'll do a roll, roll, roll. Hey, it works. Roll, and then it would just shoot in one direction. I was able to grab some black box logs to try to figure this out. So if we look at the black box logs, what I was noticing was that it looked like the gyro was going crazy. It looked like for some reason it thought it was way off in the wrong direction, and it spun up the motor 100% to try to counteract for it. So I was thinking, oh man, I got a faulty gyro again. That's actually what was going on this time. I fixed one problem, now I got this gyro. I got to go in and replace the flight controller again. What a pain. So while I was trying to figure this out, I was doing all sorts of different tests. I was changing my PIDs for some reason. Maybe it was somehow getting too aggressive with the P. Maybe that's what was causing it. I tried changing my low pass filter for my gyro, setting it to 188 hertz. I found this article in the FAQ about what to do if you have a noisy quad. Maybe it's a lot of noise causing this problem. I set it to the most noisy settings. It was still acting crazy. So luckily, while I was trying to figure this out, reading through all the issues on Betaflight's GitHub page, reading the conversation that Boris had with other users, people who are having not the same issue, but similar enough issues. So what I was actually looking through is a lot of people were having ESC issues. And motors weren't spinning up when they thought they should, or they're having issues where motors were spinning up too much. In those cases, it was usually a faulty ESC. However, I did notice that a few times when these happened, Boris said, try increasing your min-throttle. Maybe your min-throttle's too low. So that's what I did. I increased my min-throttle on my motors, and since I did that, I've had no issue whatsoever. I went out this morning and tried it out, said, you know what, I'm going to do a lot of rolls. Very aggressive, hard stop. Let's see if it falls out of the sky again. None, no problem. Before I raised the min throttle, I probably didn't have more than 2 or 3 rolls in a row without it freaking out. I remember the first time I flew it first person after changing min-throttle, I was shaking. I was kind of nervous, just because when I did line of sight, there was one time where it flipped out and I gave it throttle. It was actually facing right towards me, and it shot towards me, and I had to jump out of the way of this thing. So it can get really unpredictable when it's in air mode and it has an issue where it tries to overcompensate for it. It's really something to watch out for. It's something I had no idea about. It's just something to be really, really aware of. So what I want to talk about today is how I set min-throttle. So, I'm new to this hobby. I'm new to setting things up. I don't know exactly everything. I just read online what people say, and that's basically what I did. I took the quad, I set it up inside of Betaflight, I went to the motors tab, but I bumped it up until they all spun reliably. I then said, all right, let's add about 10 on top of that and call that min-throttle. That's what I saw other people telling me to do. That's what I did, and it worked great until I started getting more confident and started being more aggressive, and it started getting mad at me. So then I said maybe 10 over the minimum to spin the motors reliably is not enough, and I bumped it up higher. So previously I had something around 1020, 1025. Now I'm running 1050 on these motors. It made a night and day difference. So my advice to you, if you're just getting started out, you're trying to learn how to set up the quad, go a little bit on the high side on min-throttle versus going on the too low side. Only 10 over for me wound up being really dangerous, and I never would have expected that to happen. So let me take these props off and kind of show you what it looks like. Alright, so I have Betaflight set up here, and I just want to show you what it looks like when I set up my motors, what it looked like at min-throttle, where I set it, and where I ended up having to change it to, so I didn't have the issue anymore where it decided to go crazy. Alright, so I have Betaflight set up here, and I just want to show you what it looks like when I set up my motors, what it looked like at min-throttle, where I set it, and where I ended up having to change it to, so I didn't have the issue anymore where it decided to go crazy. Let's go to the motors tab this time. Alright, so always remove your props, okay? I know it's tempting not to, but it's just best to remove your props. So if I enable this, and then I decide to bump up this throttle, oops, let's just use the keyboard. I see that one started spinning, two were spinning. Okay. Here at 1020, they're all spinning reliably. One thing that's interesting, this is actually a little bit higher than it was before. It used to spin around 1015, and that's why I set it to 1025, which is right there. This was not enough. Even though they're spinning reliably, you think this is okay for min-throttle, it's not okay. So I ended up having to go configure these to 1050 to get it to work properly. So that's how high and how fast I have to go. So again, the way I'd always been taught to do this is just bump up the throttle until they're all going reliably, and then just go a little bit higher. And that minimum reliability is 1020, but even a 1030 min-throttle was not enough for me. So anyway, that's what it did. Going a little bit higher on the min-throttle, it really didn't hurt my maneuverability. It really did not hurt when I was doing acrobatics. It wasn't enough to make a measurable difference, but it kept me from shooting out of the sky. So I'd say it was a big win. So with that, go out there, have fun, enjoy the hobby. I'm having an absolute blast learning how to do this thing. I can't wait to get better. Every time I'm excited to go out there. I really hope that maybe this has encouraged some of you guys to give this a shot. It's just so much fun. It's not as hard as it looks to get started. You can do it. I'm doing it. Let's all have fun together. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it helpful, if you've liked it, please like that video. Leave some comments. I'd love to chat with you, see if you guys have had similar experiences. Maybe you guys have questions about what I did. Just let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you, and keep flying.